Hi everyone, it's Chelsea here, bringing you another segment of living in Southwest Florida. If you're thinking of moving to Fort Myers, Cape Coral, or any of the surrounding areas, then you might have wondered what are some things that you may not end up loving here. So today we're going to explore regrets I've heard people share when they've moved to the area. But before we jump in, really quickly, it would mean a lot to me if you could go ahead and hit that like button so that the YouTube algorithms share this information with others and it'd let me know what you like more of. And as a thank you, here is some footage from a sunset. There is always one part of the day that's my favorite, and that is going to be sunset time. It is always so beautiful, no matter if you're on the water or land. And really quickly, I wouldn't be good at my job if I didn't remind you how much we love helping people from all over the country buy and sell their homes here in Southwest Florida. So if you or anyone you know of are even thinking about moving, then feel free to use the contact info below. All right, let's jump right in. While I love where I live, not everyone might. Listen, Florida is not for everybody, and that's okay. So we're going to explore a handful of reasons I've heard people choose to leave. The unpredictable nature. Fort Myers, like many parts of Florida, all the parts of Florida, faces the constant threat of hurricanes and tropical storms. While the allure of our year-round sunshine, minus an afternoon storm, most days during the summer, is one of the reasons people flock to this region, the reality of dealing with hurricane season can be daunting. I've heard this one particularly from people who just have dealt with the flooding or are really scared from the last hurricane, or at least from Ian. We definitely showed our trauma after Ian. As a native Floridian, I probably don't start getting really worried until a level 3. But even I feel some trauma coming out of Ian too. And it's not because I don't think that my house can handle a hurricane. It did okay, all considering for Ian. I'm just likely to evacuate because I don't want to do the stress. It is scary. It is very scary. So yes, we left for Ian and we went north so that our kids wouldn't be scarred forever with the storm. At this point, though, our construction methods are meant to handle a hurricane. Our concrete block construction will not get knocked over by 150-mile-per-hour winds. And frankly, even wood frame homes that were built in the last 30 years withstood the winds as well. I had past clients who wrote out Hurricane Ian in their wood frame house from the 1980s, and while it was scary, the main structure of their home was just fine, minus some of the paneling off the side and the back patio. But problems are more likely to rise with older style homes. The islands were in part destroyed because some of those cottages were 80 years old and they weren't built to the standards that they are today. Also a consideration that are with many other things being replaced in the past year, it's also removed many of the older fixtures that could have become weaknesses for damage. This year, after experiencing Ian, our population remembers what to do. We stock, we seal, we brace or leave, and then we clean up once it's gone. And it's really no different anywhere else that might have ice or snow or fires or earthquakes. As Hurricane Sandy showed, even the northeast coast can still be affected. Now, hurricanes aren't our only extreme weather. It gets hot, really hot. And I often hear from people who have never visited Florida during the summer that it's just too hot for them. Our family spends a lot of time in the pool, and many other people I know choose to spend a lot of their time at the beach. Boating is huge here because the water is a great way to cool off, and we have some of the best beaches and boating in the world. Now, my family in particular is outside all summer long, even on those hot days, because we have horses and those require attention even when it's the worst of the worst. They kind of like to still eat. We tend to keep our outdoor activities limited to mornings or evenings if it's not water-based, so that it's not going to be at the height of the heat. And then during the worst weeks of the year, we tend to stay indoors or we find activities we can do in air conditioning. The horses even get fans on them during that part of the year. The worst of the worst tends to be a handful of weeks during the year, and for my family, we find it manageable. It's hot, but we just keep moving forward. But if you are particularly susceptible to heat, then you should really take into consideration. Susceptible? Susceptible. Tourist takeover, our seasonal influxes. Fort Myers isn't really the hidden gem it once was anymore. We love our town and we love to share it proudly, and it has become a popular destination for snowbirds, which are retirees or vacationers who can work from home, and they're usually from the northern states who flock down to Florida for the winter months. While the seasonal influx certainly boosts the local economy, it can lead to overcrowding, especially during the peak winter season. Basically, our population doubles during those times of year, and it can be challenging to navigate. Particularly, traffic congestion on the roads and packed restaurants can be frustrating for year-round residents. And as other industries, you get affected too. I noticed the doctor's offices and my pet groomer becomes busier as well. So sometimes full-time residents get a little annoyed with sharing the city. On the flip side of that though, if you are in a business that caters to tourists, then you may love tourist season. I know my Airbnb owners love snowbird season, as do the restaurateurs, the fishing charters, the excursion owners, the other businesses. Also, I will say that as our population gets bigger, we're having more resources and options than we previously had. For example, 3 years ago, there was less pediatric dentists available for my kids, so the wait times for appointments were longer during season. But last season, it wasn't much of a difference. And restaurants bulk up on their staff during season as well. In other words, we're adapting better than we may have in the past. And it's temporary. The months that are the most challenging are January to March, as they tend to be coming up right after Christmas and sometime around New Year's, and then they stay until around Easter. But that's limited every year. And all cities in Florida, if they're going to be coastal, are likely going to have snowbirds. Shoot, even if they're not coastal, even Orlando, who's smack dab in the middle, gets their snowbird season. Job market limitations. We have plenty of opportunities available here in Fort Myers if you are looking for work in a tourism industry or if you're in a services that supports the population. This includes the construction industry, education, health services, stuff like that. If you fix something or help others, you're probably going to have a ton of possibilities and options. But other industries are still catching up. In particular, the job market for manufacturing is still lower. Also, the job market, particularly for higher paying positions, may not be as robust as in larger metropolitan areas. That being said, we do have quite a bit of upcoming growth, especially since this is a segment of industry that our local area governments are trying to capture more of. There may be more tax incentives here for those looking to relocate their companies here to the region than there's been in the past. Cultural homogeneity. Lack of diversity. Fort Myers is a smaller vibe mid-city town. It's not a cultural hotspot like other cities may be known for. Sometimes it's a little too sleepy for people. If you're coming because you want to find someplace more quiet to relax, Fort Myers might be your town. But if you're coming for our art scene or our cultural diversity, then you may be disappointed. Don't get me wrong, there is an art and music and theater all available. Touring productions like Hamilton even make their way through, so we do have culture. And we have many local options for theater, art, and music. But if you're looking for Taylor Swift, then Fort Myers won't be on her radar. For that, you're going to need to drive about 2 to 2.5 hours and either go into Miami or Tampa, both of which are driving distance. Beyond the art scene, and bear with me, I have to be careful how I broach this, let's talk about diversity in general. Fort Myers tends to be more homogenous. Let me be clear. I am clearly a Caucasian woman in a loving marriage to my husband, and so my experience may be very different than others who identify differently. What I can say is that I have clients from all walks of life. I've had men clients. I've had non-Caucasian clients. I've had clients who are not in a loving marriage to a man. I've had clients who are older than me and clients who are younger. Some have children. Some have no desire to ever have children. So I can say confidently that there are people here from all walks of life, and it is possible to find your tribe if you're looking for them. But yes, if you instead thrive on a more cosmopolitan atmosphere, then Fort Myers' slower pace of life might become a little bit more dull. Politics. Let's face it, Florida has become a political darling in its last several years. Political reporters probably report on the state of what's going on here at least a weekly basis. Our governor is vocal. We've been a swing state in the past and we're going into an election year, so it'll probably get louder over the next year or so. Yes, I've heard from people that they're leaving due to the current state of affairs. The best thing I can say to this is, like I have said about the diversity, we have everyone. Some are louder than others, but both sides are represented here. To be honest, the most people I hear fall somewhere in the middle of most issues, and majority of people will tend to shy away from talking politics. But like the saying goes, opinions are like butts. Everybody's got one. All I can say and really suggest to people is that no matter what side you land, there are groups for whatever your beliefs may be, and you can find your tribe if you look for them. All right, so before we wrap this up, please let me know what your comments are and if you think I forgot something. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I have a brand new 96-page beautiful guide on moving to Lee County that has been a huge labor of love for me. If you'd like your own copy, then the link can be found below in my link tree down in the description. If you have any questions about the data, or if you'd like to drill down and compare specific neighborhoods, like say Cape Coral versus Fort Myers, or waterfront homes or pool homes, or whatever it is that your specific circumstances call for, then feel free to reach out. The contact information in the description below. Myself and my network of agents I have throughout the United States are here, and we're ready to help you with your move. My video schedule can sometimes be a little erratic, so if you'd like more videos like this, then don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you'll be notified when we drop another one. And if you're ready to go ahead and get that ball rolling on your move to Southwest Florida, then there's a link in the description below to set up a personalized home search that'll be tailored specifically to you. Oftentimes when you search on web aggregates, it limits your capabilities. But when I build this search out for you, you're gonna have many more options available, and we can really begin to have a conversation about what your home in Florida will look like. Or feel free to use Cape Coral Fort Myers Realestate.com for all the latest listings and hit the market and get comfortable with our marketplace. There's no obligations. Don't forget to add me on social media and follow along as we post weekly, daily articles and information that you may find handy and give you insight as to what life in Florida looks like. As always, we really appreciate when you leave us a comment and hit that like button, subscribe button, and notification bells so that you get contacted when we do future videos that may help you with living in Southwest Florida. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, I wish you much health and happiness.